Today is another weather impact alert day, and we want to make sure you are weather aware of what you need to have on your radar this morning. I'm joined by meteorologist Christian Morgan, who will give us an extended breakdown of what to expect in the Triad today. Christian.
All right, thanks, Lauren. 7 o'clock right now if you're just joining us on WFMY Plus. Boy, oh boy, your Monday. What a washout day of weather. You know, they used to call those frog stranglers back in the day. And take a look, generally 1 to 2 inches of rainfall across the area yesterday. Of course, there were some higher totals, there were some lower totals, but boy, it was a messy day of weather yesterday. Take a look at some of these rainfall totals across the Piedmont. Almost 2 inches over in Winston-Salem yesterday. Mount Airy with over 2 inches as well. I think that total is probably a little bit overdone, but I would expect 2 inches is most likely up that way yesterday too. 0.82 inches out at the airport here in Greensboro at PTI, an inch in Asheboro, almost an inch and a half down in Lexington, inch and a quarter Siler City, half an inch over in Burlington. But take a look, the biggest totals yesterday were up over the foothills and up over the mountains. I was actually up in the foothills yesterday, and it was just a constant wall of rain, what felt like all day long. So thankfully today I don't expect to be like that. I expect today actually to be a little bit on the drier side of things, but we are going to keep that alert in effect for today. I'll explain why coming up. Here's the look across the Piedmont right now for your Tuesday morning. You'll notice some patchy, dense fog right now as you look out over Winston-Salem. This is not a widespread issue this morning, but just know your morning commute, your travels this morning through about 8 and 9 o'clock likely will take you through a couple of patches of fog. So give yourself a little travel, extra time to account for that in your travels, and just take it a little slower when you encounter some of that fog. Of course, using those low beam headlights is always the way to go anytime you're in any sort of fog situation. Temperatures out the door for most of us this morning are starting out in the mid 60s. All right, let's talk about that alert today. Goes really all day from start to finish, even though I expect us to have some dry time today and don't expect washout rain. Here's the reason. I think once we get into the afternoon, we have some more of those downpours popping up. And I also anticipate that we'll have a little bit of sunshine peeking out today. That sunshine acts like fuel for thunderstorms later in the day. So with that sunshine, that can fuel a couple strong or maybe even a severe thunderstorm or two for the afternoon and evening. So even though we're still got some rain on the way, the added chance for a severe thunderstorm does have me just keep the alert day around for today. Just not a bad idea to pay a little extra attention. All right, keep the rain gear close by. And if you don't have it yet, that News 2 weather app is totally free. You can get it on any Apple or Android device that you have, any kind of smart device. Get it, track along with real-time radar just like we see here in the studio, and it's a great way to stay in the know, especially if you're running in and out, not just today, but any day where we're expecting at least some inconvenient type of weather. All right, here's the radar this morning. Now, it's been a busy morning of weather for our friends in the Raleigh and Durham area and down into eastern North Carolina. They've had a lot of rain, some bumpy thunderstorms. There were even some tornado warnings earlier this morning in eastern North Carolina and closer to the Outer Banks. So those folks have been under the gun with the busy weather for this morning. We've pretty much been left alone here in the Piedmont Triad since very late last night, and I expect that we'll mainly stay dry through lunchtime today. Here's a hint about what's to come. You'll notice we're dry now. Well, look down across the North Carolina-South Carolina line. It's dry. Down in the upstate of South Carolina, it's mostly dry. Georgia, also mostly dry. Even though we still have that spinning area of low pressure, I think we're going to be able to hold out in this lull period, at least through about lunchtime. Even then, we still have the spinning area of low pressure, and it's going to help spark off some of those scattered downpours, and with that sunshine that I anticipate, likely a few thunderstorms as well. That again tomorrow will bring us a round of scattered showers for your Wednesday, and then by Thursday, I expect even though a chance for a pop-up shower or storm, our rain chance will be much lower. We're looking at more drier weather to end the week, and a bit of a warm-up on the way too by Friday, which I don't think anybody's going to be complaining about. Severe weather risk for today is a level 1. That includes our entire Piedmont Triad area. Part of the western North Carolina mountains, foothills are trimmed out of that, but most of our area is included in that level 1 risk. So why the risk for severe weather is not high, it's not 0. And again, with that sun popping out, I think that gives us just a little bit of caution today, especially for the afternoon and through that evening commute. So mainly dry through about lunchtime. After that, I can't really guarantee it. I don't expect all the time that it's going to rain, all afternoon rain for everybody. This again is a luck of the draw type of rain for this afternoon. Couple of downpours, couple of storms popping up. Here's the time frame, 3 Clock now 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock through evening commute and through dinner time. After that, 7, 8 o'clock, I think anything that's out there should really start to wind down, should start to come to an end. But I want you really to sort of pay attention at least through then. All right, even though we're not expecting a day like we had yesterday, there could be some areas that pick up another 1/4 of an inch to maybe 1/2 of an inch of rain, maybe on the higher side of things between today and tomorrow. Again, depending on where those heavier downpours set up, maybe some of those heavier thunderstorms or heavier pockets of rain, there could be a few isolated spots that pick up more, upwards of an inch. There will also be areas that pick up barely 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch between today and tomorrow. That's just how the next couple of days are going to go, being luck of the draw. All right, so here's the plan for your Tuesday. Once again, we're mainly staying dry as we go through the morning hours up through about lunchtime. Temperatures I expect to hold out in the 60s for a while too. We're still in the mid 60s through 8, 9 o'clock this morning. Heading into 10 and 11, we get a little closer to 70. I think a lot of that will depend on how much sunshine we get and how quickly it comes out. And if I really had to hedge my bets, I would say it probably wouldn't really start coming out to around lunchtime and as we get into the afternoon. So we'll have the extra clouds around for a while. Rain chance stays at a bare minimum at least through about 11 o'clock and noon. So if you want to run out and do errands today, do errands this morning, you're going to be fine, right? There's not much to worry about in the way of rain today, at least in the morning hours. For the afternoon, we head into lunchtime, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, right through the heart of the evening commute and through dinner time. That's where I want you paying a little extra attention. By then, temperatures should be well into the low to mid 70s, especially with that sunshine peeking out. Again, the more sunshine we get, maybe the more thunderstorms that we'll have. So we'll be watching for that as we go into the afternoon. Tonight, well, the rain chance will really start to wind down after about 7 and 8 o'clock. Not to say that we're completely done with it then. I just don't think there will be as many showers or as many storms out there to track by that point. We'll move it to the overnight hours. Rain chance really start to drop off. I think we're mainly dry late tonight, so you can go to bed and pretty much rest worry-free. Mainly dry overnight through very early tomorrow morning, and temperatures tonight should start to fall down into the low 60s for those overnight low temperatures. All right, let's talk about that 7-day forecast for a while. Your Wednesday, again, not a really wet day of weather. There'll be plenty of dry time in between some scattered showers. Tomorrow, we're back in the upper 70s for your Wednesday. All right, here's the rest of the week and how it plays out. For Thursday, like I mentioned, that area of low pressure is going to pull a bit more away from us, so that's going to bring our rain chance down. I can't completely rule out an isolated shower, but I think Thursday is mainly a dry and warm day of weather. We should be easily up into the low and mid 80s. For Friday, an isolated pop-up thunderstorms possible as we go into the afternoon. Friday afternoon is warm. Temperatures should climb well into the upper 80s. A couple of folks even scaring the 90-degree mark for Friday afternoon. We'll keep that isolated pop-up shower or storm chance in the forecast for your Saturday. Temperatures will again stay warm there. We've got a big weekend coming up now, of course, over in Wilkesboro with the All-Star race coming up. So we'll have to watch for that pop-up storm chance Friday night, likely again for Saturday. By the time we get to the All-Star race, though, on Sunday, I expect that we're mainly going to be staying dry. All right, All-Star race on Sunday, temperatures in the mid 80s across the Piedmont, likely low 80s up in the foothills, but you're on the track, right on the tar. Yeah, it's likely going to be warm there. Mid and upper 80s is probably what it'll feel like to your body sitting in the stands there on Sunday. That dry weather continues on into next week, and I've had a lot of people ask me, are we going to get warm and stay warm? Well, there's good opportunity now as we get into late May and, of course, into June, into the summer months. That warm weather becomes more of a common thing. But a lot of the reason our temperatures were in the 70s last week, a lot of clouds, had the opportunity for rain. That chance goes away and our temperatures start to come up. So expect 80s on the way as we go into next week. Those are likely to hang around for a while. It does look like mainly dry weather is going to be back with us for several days next week, and that, of course, is something for us to look forward to. In the meantime, let's get over to Lauren Coleman. She's going to give you an update on traffic this morning. Of course, with the wet roads, with the fog out there, that can make for a slower morning commute. She's going to cover that for you. Then, of course, we'll come back and do another recap on our forecast before we get you out of here this morning. Lauren?
Hey, Christian, before we hop into traffic, we do have some new information in Edgecombe County. The National Weather Service confirms that a tornado broke ground overnight, so that's about 2 hours away from us. It hit near Highway 42 and Pine Tops, causing some damage to the surrounding areas. Right now, there are no reports of any injuries as we know of, but we will be definitely staying on top of that. Let's go ahead and bring up our NCDOT traffic camera. Right now, we have a live picture. This is out in Greensboro, I-40 at Wendover, where traffic is moving smoothly. smoothly, kind of quiet, not too many folks out and about, but you can see just the cloud cover there. You can actually see roadways are pretty slick, but we're not seeing any of that ponding, but you definitely want to make sure you're still taking it slow. Taking a look across the Triad, no major delays in our major cities, Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem. However, we are seeing the slick roadways with our road weather index map that's represented by the light green there. Taking that closer look within Greensboro, 85, 73, the loop looking great. Heading out to west to the foothills, the mountain area, we do still have some reports of some flooded out roadways due to early rainfall earlier in the month. So if you come across any of those detour signs, remember, turn around, don't drown. Let's head out to our east, a little beyond the viewing area out near Danville, Durham, Chapel Hill. We're starting to see a lot of that ponding there. That is represented by those patches of blue. So if you are headed east outside of the viewing area, you definitely want to take it slow. You might even want to consider maybe leaving a little later if you can and stay off of the roadways. Taking a look at some of those drive times, folks who are leaving Greensboro, if you're headed to Winston by way of I-40 West, it's going to take you about 20 minutes. And if you're taking 421 North, we're at about a 25-minute commute. If you're headed on south, leaving Greensboro, maybe going to Lexington by way of 85, it's going to take you about 25 minutes. Those headed to Asheboro on 73 South, we're looking at about a 20-minute commute. But again, take it slow, stay inside if you can, but if you must be on the roadways, hands at 10 and 2, you know, make sure you have enough space but in front of you and behind you. No slamming on the brakes, but we're keeping an eye on these roadways. We'll let you know when those accidents start to roll in. I'm joined again by meteorologist Christian Morgan. Just a couple of questions for you. So throughout the day this morning, you have been saying that we are much drier now than we were yesterday. What changed in the forecast?
Well, that's a good question. You know, a lot of people thought we were going to have washout style rain from Sunday night all the way through Wednesday. And while that at one point was looking like an opportunity late last week or over the weekend anyway, that area of low pressure, it's spinning over our heads. And a lot of time we run into this in a snow or a winter situation. We're wrapping in a lot of dry air that's out behind that. So when you wrap that dry air into an area of low pressure, it's going to suck up some of that moisture and suck up some of that rain. So that's what we've been able to do. And right now we're just sort of in that dry slot of the system. So you'll notice down east this morning, there's the radar. Down east this morning, it's been a lot busier down there with constant on and off rain, really from Raleigh all the way over to the Outer Banks and down to Wilmington and off the coast there. So it's been really wet down that way this morning while we have been stuck in that dry slot and have stayed dry. And if you look out over the rest of the Piedmont Triad, mostly down into South Carolina and into Georgia, you don't really see a lot of rain. Those folks are also sort of in that dry slot. And so while we're positioned in the right way for that, I think that's why we're mainly going to stay dry up through lunchtime. Now again, there's more rain on the way. It'll be in the form of scattered downpours, a few thunderstorms this afternoon. So we're not completely done with the rain. I just expect there to be some drier periods today and expect a little sunshine to come out too.
Oh, we want the sunshine. So we know that there's going to be heavy pockets of rain throughout the day. Let's talk about tornadoes. We did just report that a tornado was reported in Edgecombe County last night, about 2 hours away from us. Is there a tornado risk for today?
There is at least a low risk of a tornado today. And part of the reason for that, even earlier this morning, we saw another tornado warning down in eastern North Carolina and near the Outer Banks. So again, today we at least have that low risk of a tornado. Anything that pops up in the nature of a storm is going to have the ability to start spinning. Part of that reason is for just look at what low pressure is doing. You can sort of watch that rain on radar and see how it's kind of spinning, right? So it's already spinning a little bit. Then you add fuel or what we call instability into the mixture, which would be our sunshine. So we get enough of that, and that will help fuel some of those pop-up storms. And when they're off on their own by themselves, they have a better opportunity to start spinning or rotating rather than if they were in a line or in a big cluster of storms. So while the risk is not high, it's low, but it's something that we'll at least keep an eye on this afternoon.
Okay, low risk. With the downpour of rain, you know, when it comes down fast, we can have the potential of flash flooding. Is that something that we see? I know some of the areas that we tend to keep an eye on, Buffalo Creek, Revolution Mill. Is this something that we might possibly see today? The
typical trouble spots. Of course, that's an opportunity in the typical trouble spots early. The one good thing, at least the one encouraging thing that I think I saw yesterday, was that we didn't really have much in the way of flooding concerns here. Now, there were some flooding problems up in the mountains. Unfortunately, those folks are still trying to repair and pick up after Helene. So not a good thing for those folks. But Around here, I haven't seen much in the way of flooding. Even in the Buffalo Creek, the Revolution Mills, the Latham Parks, those places that normally flood, I didn't see much of that yesterday. Part of the reason for that may be that the rain was a little intermittent. You know, it came down really heavy for a while, then let up, and kind of the same thing. So with it being dry today, with there being more breaks in the rain, I don't really foresee the flash flood concern as much today. Still keep an eye on it, but you know, if you get under a downpour or a heavy storm, but I don't really foresee much in the way of problems there today.
And one more question, is this what we're seeing today and what we saw yesterday a part of a much larger system? Is there a possibility we could see more of these scattered showers throughout the rest of the week?
The chances at least here for today, and then a couple of scattered showers or maybe a storm tomorrow. But as we progress through the week, our days get drier and drier, right? Tomorrow likely is a bit drier than today. Our Thursday is mainly dry. Friday has just a pop-up shower storm. So it's all part of one big system. It's that area of low pressure that's spinning over us and slowly, and I mean slowly, moving away. So once it finally gets out of here and kicks out by the weekend and into next week, we have several days of prolonged dry weather.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much for answering those questions. We're keeping an eye on the roads and the skies. We'll check in with you a little later. We are also monitoring massive power outages within the Carolinas right now. As you can see in our area alone, we have hundreds without power as they wake up to start the day. Right now, we are taking that live look at the Duke Energy outage map. A lot of those outages, we're seeing over 500 out near the Charlotte area, out to the western part of our state, near the mountains, out near Asheville, about 1,000 outages there, but we are seeing hundreds out in Greensboro at the moment as well. So we'll be checking in and out, making sure we're up to date on those improvements. But again, the hundreds without power this morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at those flights, you know, those that are headed out to the airport. If you do have a flight that you're going to catch today, you definitely want to make sure you're checking in with your airline. Let's scroll up a little bit so I could actually see how many of those cancellations that we have. It looks like the total delays for today are just over 6,000, about 6,200, and then canceled flights today, about 340 canceled flights. And for those cancellations heading in and out of the United States, we're right under 100. So again, if you are set to take a flight today, you want to make sure that you're checking in with your airline to see if that flight has been delayed. So many times drivers like to get in the car and put on the cruise control, especially if they're getting on the highways, but you might want to consider not doing that today. Let's verify.
Got this email from viewer Tom W. He said, is it true that driving in the rain with cruise control is dangerous? Has new technology made this less of a problem? So let's verify. Our source is the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the U.S. Department of Transportation, and Tiffany Wright, the AAA Director of Public Affairs. NHTSA states it's best to use cruise control on long open highways and when conditions are safe to drive at a steady speed. But in wet weather,
wet conditions, do not use your cruise control. Your chances of losing control of your vehicle greatly increase.
According to the U.S. Department of Transportation, the most weather-related crashes happen on wet roads and when it's raining. 70% on wet pavement and 46% during rainfall.
When you're in cruise control, you don't have the ability to be completely in control of your vehicle. It also lessens your reaction time, right? You just have to have the ability to be able to take your foot off and on the accelerator.
When it comes to newer technology,
a lot of modern day cars, they won't even allow you to engage in cruise control when the car senses wet conditions.
So we can verify that, yes, driving in the rain with cruise control is dangerous.
Another safety alert. We are just learning multiple schools in Reedsville are closed today because of a boil water notice. Both Reedsville High and middle schools are closed, along with Booker T. Washington Learning Center and South End Elementary, Moss Elementary, Williamsburg Elementary, Bethany Elementary Schools, and Lawsonville Head Start. We do have those listed on your screen here. Rockingham County School says it will provide updates as needed. We also have that information on our website. The Rockingham County Sheriff's Office is looking for a woman who vanished sometime last week. Deputies believe Cheryl O'Neill got in her car and drove away from home. No one has seen her since. It's not clear why she left. The Sheriff's Office says she drives an older model white Mazda. A Greensboro teen is recovering this morning after a fight at Page High School. Police say several teens got into a fight Friday afternoon near the end of the school day. The extent of the teens' injuries aren't clear. 2 of the teens will face charges. Police also charged a 23-year-old man who arrived on campus after the fight. The charges include disorderly conduct and resisting an officer. An investigation is underway after a fire broke out at the Hall Towers apartment high-rise in Greensboro. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Firefighters say the fire started in the kitchen and one of the apartments. The people who live in that unit and the one next to it have been relocated because of the damage. 7:20 now. The Guilford County Sheriff's Office wants helped foster a positive relationship with the residents. So to do so, it is hosting a sheriff roundtable today to help spark meaningful conversations with the public. They're inviting everyone to tonight's event at the Sheriff's Office. That address is 400 Washington Street in Greensboro. It will start at 6 p.m. Today, a group in Washington, D.C. will gather to honor fallen Greensboro officer Michael Horan. In the past couple of months, the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund added his name to a wall honoring fallen officers across the country. The group is holding a candlelight vigil today where they will read Officer Horan and other officers' names aloud as they honor their service to their communities. The Greensboro Police Department says some of its force will be there to support. This vigil happens every year on May 13th. The High Point Police Department is also sending some of its staff to D.C. This as they honor officers who died in the line of duty within the last century. The most recent for the force includes Officer Sheila Timon, who passed away in 2000.
Let's get a final check on that forecast. This morning, again, still mainly dry across the Piedmont, outside of some mist and a little patch of drizzle here and there. A lot more rain down in eastern North Carolina. I'm expecting us to stay dry through most of the morning commute and up through about lunchtime. Into the afternoon, though, that scattered chance for rain does come back. A few thunderstorms likely popping up, too. We'll have some sunshine in between the rain. That sun will act as some fuel to get a few thunderstorms going. 1 or 2 of those could be a bit strong, too, so we'll watch for that. 7-day forecast that will follow. The rain chance starts to come down a little bit each day. Just a few scattered showers for your Wednesday, and then by Thursday, mainly dry. 84 Thursday. We're up to near 90 for Friday afternoon with an isolated pop-up shower or storm. That low chance will remain for Saturday with highs in the mid-80s. We're dry for the All-Star race up in Wilkesboro on Sunday in the mid-80s. Mainly dry, staying warm into next week, Lauren.
Alrighty, well, that's all we have for now, but we'll be back on WFMY Plus at 8 a.m. with another check of the forecast.
All right, see you then.
Take care. alert out of Reedsville, where a massive outage leaves the city without water this morning. WFMY News 2's Giselle Thomas joins us live on how this is affecting the day. Hey, Giselle.
Yes, now there are multiple middle, high schools and elementary schools in Reedsville that are closed this morning due to this boil water notice. Now, right now, just to name a few: Booker T. Washington Learning Center, South End Elementary, Moss Street Elementary, Monroeington Elementary, Williamsburg, also Bethany, Lawndale. Rockingham County Schools says that it will provide updates as needed. Now, the city of Reedsville explained on Facebook that there's an electrical outage at its water treatment plant and a possible water main break nearby. Now, dispatchers have confirmed much of the city of Reedsville is without water, and anyone who does have water must boil it. Now, we've been in contact and we are working to find out exactly when this happened and exactly how many people are impacted here in this neighborhood right outside of the facility plant. We actually see one kid who probably is not going to school this morning because he's with school closed due to the closing of schools throughout the entire county. Live in Reedsville, Giselle Thomas, WFMY News 2.
All right, thanks, Giselle. Mainly dry this morning across the Piedmont with some extra clouds. We'll hang out in the 60s, but as we get into the afternoon, expect a little bit of sunshine to peek out, some scattered downpours, and a pop-up thunderstorm or two. One or two of those could be strong, so we'll watch out for that. Scattered showers continue for your Wednesday. Rain chance comes down, temperatures go up Thursday and Friday, near 90 to finish off the work week.